Hey guys, welcome back. Vincent Giallo here. VHS collection video 16. Woo! Here we go. 90s favorites, all-time favorites as well. You know, some of my all-time favorites that I actually happen to have VHS copies of and stuff like that. So let's get going right away. Let's start it off in style with freaking mobsters, man. Check this out. Do you guys remember this flick? Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, Costas Mandylor, and Richard freaking Grieco. Is that Albert Finney? Yeah. Anthony Quinn. I mean, man, this movie rules. I love this tape. This is not my original copy, but it's the same vintage. Sadly, back in 1991, my girlfriend took off with my collection of about 15 to 20 VHS tapes and my cat. Got the cat back. Never did get the copy of Mobsters back. But, you know, it was nice to finally find this and put it back on the shelf. You know, and finally kind of make that right, if you will. But this is a good one, guys. They didn't take orders. They took over. And these dudes were cool, man. Like, this was like the greatest thing ever. Definitely a good one, guys. If you have not seen Mobsters, man, get it. It's awesome. Next one. All right. I mean, these are strong movies, man. Freaking Point Break. Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, it is what it is. It's fantastic. Love this movie, man. Remember seeing this in the theater, too. It's terrific. Great stuff. Nice copy. Please Be Kind, Rewind. But Point Break, man. Awesome. Love it. Look at the top hit. Woo. That's a hot tape right there. Definitely a good one. Next up, a little bit more of an unknown one, sort of. Thunderheart, guys. Sam Shepard, Graham Greene, and Sir Val Kilmer. Definitely like this one. Good story. Powerful, cool, you know. He's this detective, and he heads out to the reservation to try to, you know, solve a murder. You know, and he's not really welcome there, but I think he's part Native American or something, so he's kind of, you know, they kind of reject him, but he's like, nah, but I kind of, you know, should be here and helping you guys, you know, I understand your people, and there's kind of like this whole thing, you know, going on. You know, this religious leader of the tribe and stuff. Really cool. Good flick, guys. Thunderheart, man. What a tape. Again, like, you know, this is, man, I was lucky to find that. Some juicy ones in here. Pulp Fiction, pretty easy to find. Great movie. Obviously, don't have to really spend too much time on that one. Great soundtrack, the whole thing, blah, 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 Pulp Fiction. But always liked it. Saw it a few times in the theater back then. You know, I've probably seen it maybe 4 or 5 times since then. Definitely a good flick, guys. Here's a little more obscure one as well. I really enjoy. Now, I actually have 2 versions of this. This is actually the letterbox version in a slipcase. Really cool. It has the making of the arrival on it, which is, I think it was like 10 minutes long. So how about that? But 2 thumbs up, Siskel and Ebert. I really like this one a lot. I think it's about 1995-ish. If you haven't seen this one, guys, really good. Andy Garcia, I believe, was the other guy. No, Ron Silver. I always get Andy Garcia and Ron Silver mixed up. Ron Silver is no longer with us, I believe. Terry Polo is in this thing as well. So, you know. And what's his name? Who's that dude? Lindsay Krause. Not that dude. That's a woman. But Billy Zane, I believe. Is that what I'm thinking? Was he in this? Oh, I can't remember. Why am I thinking Billy Zane was in this? I don't know. No, I don't think he was. But, yeah, definitely a good one, guys. The sequel was kind of, you know. But I really like this movie, guys. The Arrival. If you haven't seen it. And Charlie Sheen is good in this movie. Like, depending on what you think of his acting. But he's really good in this. Does a great job. That's a really cool flick. Next up, what about the same vintage? We got From Dusk Till Dawn. Again, what can you say about that? Man, a cool tape to have. You know, this is somebody's collection. This wasn't like a rental or anything. It's nice and clean. But, yeah, an action extravaganza. This is Roger Ebert. Definitely is. Definitely cool. Always really liked that one as well. Of course, Clooney, Keitel, Tarantino, and Juliette Lewis in that one. Yeah, I like Robert Rodriguez's stuff quite a bit. Here's another great one, guys. Jean Reno. Holy smokes. And Gary Oldman in this thing. This movie rules. The Professional. Really good. You can find it on Blu-ray titled Leon. Really good. And Natalie Portman, of course, this was the first time I saw her. I think she was about 7 years old or 10 years old in this thing. Yeah, about 10 maybe. She was a great actress back then, you know, just when she started out, like, wow, she's got a lot of talent and stuff, and she does really well in this thing. But this movie is fantastic. If you haven't seen The Professional, guys, go watch The Professional. From the director of La Femme Nikita. I mean, this is really something. Definitely worth a look, guys. Professional. All right. Whew. The Ninth Gate. Johnny Depp, guys. Roman Polanski. Yeah. An irresistible gothic thriller. It is. It's a really well done story. You know, the only thing more terrifying than searching for the devil is finding him. Johnny Depp is sweet in this, man. Like, this movie is really good. Yeah. That's a really decent one. What year was this thing? 2000? I thought it was older than that. So there's 2000 for you. But yeah, definitely a good one, guys. Check that one out as well. And, of course, we've got Lost Highway in here. It's been opened. It's still under shrink wrap, but it's been opened. Yeah, I love this one. Great David Lynch flick. Always been a big fan of it. Widescreen edition. What can you say? One of his best, as far as I'm concerned, one of his best films. And next up, guys, we have got Young Guns. Vestron Videos. Young Guns. Always liked this movie, liked this story a lot, man. 1988 film, 1989 Vestron release. It's just a good one all around, man. I just love this tape. I had like one of those ones with like the MGM greatest hits thing, like we've talked about. Wait a minute. No, yeah. I switched it. This one here, you know, so luckily this is the original tape. It doesn't really matter, but I like this box. It's nice. Clean copy too. It's pretty exciting. And always really liked this one a lot. And that's one where I can never really decide between this and the sequel. I kind of flip-flop back and forth, man. I like this one a lot. I like part 1. I like part 2. They're both just so much fun and really good. Just really, really cool movies. Just really amazing. And a cool little town that they shot this in. Was it, I can't remember the name. Was it, no, I can't remember. A little town in New Mexico where you can go, and they actually shot most of this picture in this little town. I mean, a little town. Like, I mean, there's maybe 50 houses, maybe not even that. And like the general store and everything, it's all there still. You can kind of see, and they've got like a Young Guns sign and stuff out in the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere. Really cool. But, you know, this movie actually inspired me to go down to New Mexico and actually go to like Billy the Kid's grave and see all that stuff, like, you know, in Fort Sumner and stuff like that down in the southern part of New Mexico. Really cool, southeast kind of portion. Really, really cool. Cool state to visit, of course, but just to go and see some of this stuff is still there. And like Lincoln, the town of Lincoln is still there, and like descendants of like you know, the sheriff and everybody still actually work in those little stores on this little main street in Lincoln. Really cool. And if you go to like Las Cruces, you can actually go and see Pat Garrett's grave. You can just stand right there at Pat Garrett. I mean, it's unbelievable to see this stuff in real life. So definitely cool. Definitely a cool trip. I'd like to go back down there, actually. There's a lot of great scenery and a lot of cool things to check out in New Mexico for sure. But if you get a chance, guys, it's worth it. Young Guns 2. All right. Okay, one of my all-time favorite, well, we'll get to it in a second. But this and Another Coens is one of my favorite movies of all time, and just as far as this is the best Coen, this and Blood Simple. But for me, but I really, really like this movie. I've watched this so many times. I've actually screened this thing on the side of like a building, like a kind of like a drive-in kind of thing outside with people and stuff. I love this movie. Like projector, like, you know, projection up on the wall, kind of like an outdoor movie thing. And I love this flick. Just everything about it is just so great. And the scene, you know, with a guy up in his bedroom and they're coming to get him, and they got like Danny Boy playing, and like he lights a cigar and he's like shooting guys, and it's all in slow motion. Man, it's fantastic. This is the Coens at their best, and they're always pretty damn good, I'll tell you. I mean, Barton Fink, I love that. I mean, these are just great flicks, but this one, man, for me, John Turturro in this thing, Gabriel Byrne, awesome stuff, man. If you have not seen Miller's Crossing, it's a definite must-see. At least in Vincent Giallo's eyes. All right. Here's another one, guys. John Sayles, Lone Star. I think we showed this in a video a little while ago because I just found this not too long ago. Just a great all-around kind of flick. McConaughey's in this, Chris Cooper, Chris Christopherson, Elizabeth Pena, Frances McDormand in this one. It's a good one, guys. Kind of a drama, thriller kind of thing. Lone Star. Very hard to find this on tape. I couldn't believe it when I found it, but definitely worth checking that one out, guys. Another great one, guys. Bill Paxton, Bridget Fonda, Billy Bob Thornton in A Simple Plan. Man, this movie's great. You know, these guys find a bag of money in this downed aircraft, you know, and they all kind of want to do their own thing with it. And there's like, you know, double cross kind of stuff going on. Just a great thriller. Sometimes good people do evil things. 2 thumbs up. Razor Sharp Thriller, Siskel and Ebert. 1998. Wow, man, that's 20 years ago. That's crazy. There it is. My favorite Coen flick, guys. And one of my top 10, easy top 10 of all time, Blood Simple. Just spectacular. I just did this, showed this one in a, or maybe I didn't show it yet. Upcoming video it'll be in, but in a thrift haul. But shout out to my friend Brennan. He's an eBay seller. I managed to pick this up off of him. Burning Moon Video. He ships worldwide. I had a different version of this, and I bought some other tapes and stuff, so we threw this one in as well because I wanted the original tape. This movie, M. Emmett Walsh in this thing is fantastic. Frances McDormand, Dan Hedaya, John Getz. This movie is one of my all-time. And music by Carter Burwell, who also did the score for Miller's Crossing, and Raising Arizona, and a whole bunch of their movies. But yeah, just really like this one a lot, guys. What can you say? It's just a great flick. And I remember seeing this, you know, in the newspaper ads, and I was thinking it was a horror movie back in the day. You'd get the little black and white ad, you know, in the newspaper. I was like, oh, this Blood Simple looks awesome. It's like a slasher or something. You know, years later I watched it, I found out it wasn't. But just one of the best movies ever for me. It's just the whole premise, the double cross, the mood, the film noir, you know, sort of vibe is really rich in this thing. And if you like the film noir, this is a classic. Blood Simple, guys. Holy smokes. I love it. Really fine movie. All right, what do we got next? And then to keep in that, guys, we've got a couple more film noirs that I just cannot talk highly enough about. Val Kilmer, Joanne Whaley Kilmer, and Michael Madsen, guys. Kill Me Again. This is directed by John Dahl, who did Red Rock West as well. Just top-notch film noir. You know, if you like that kind of thing. Blood Simple in this, just freaking amazing. Just spectacular film. Twists and turns, double crossing. You don't know what's going on. You know, who's going to come out with a bag of money at the end, kind of thing. And yeah, it's just a strong picture. And of course, Red Rock West for me is right there with Blood Simple. Nicolas Cage in this thing is great. Dennis Hopper, Lara Flynn Boyle. Great movie, guys. Like, I mean, this movie is fantastic. You know, Nicolas Cage trying to get out of town. He finds a bag of money. He's trying to get out of town, but he keeps kind of getting drawn back into the town. He can't seem to make his way clear. You know, where nothing is, it seems, it says. And John Dahl did some of the greats. Of course, he did Joyride as well with Lily Sobieski and Steve Zahn, and Unforgettable with Linda Fiorentino and Ray Liotta as well. But for me, Red Rock West, Kill Me Again, and The Last Seduction are my 3 favorites of his. There's no question. That and Blood Simple. So Definitely check that one out, guys. It's just a great, like I said, a cleverly plotted game of cat and mouse, and it really is well done. Here's a little bit of an offbeat, but sort of a thriller kind of thing at the same time. Caruso, Nicolas Cage, Samuel L. Jackson, Bridget Fonda. Is that Bridget Fonda? No. Helen Hunt, Michael Rappaport, Ving Rhames, Stanley Tucci. Kiss of Death, man. I like this movie a lot too. Saw this in the theater. It's wicked. Nicolas Cage, like bench pressing like a stripper. I mean, it's amazing. I think he had like a Ventolin, like an inhaler too in this thing. I mean, the guy is nuts. So good. Caruso just plays himself basically. A little CSI Miami kind of action. I mean, he's a little bit younger, obviously, but definitely a good one too, there, guys. Kiss of Death, man. All right, these here are some of my favorites. Here we go, all time. Fletch. Top 5 movie for me all time. Yeah. Spectacular. I actually have a Fletch tattoo, so, that's how big of a fan I am of that. Don't do a ton of reading, but I have all the Fletch books. They're fantastic reads. Gregory MacDonald novels. Really, really good stuff. Fletch just is the best. I love it. Fletch Lives was great too. And I always kind of wish that remake that they talked about over and over, Kevin Smith was attached to it and then somebody else, and never happened. But man, I'd love to see that. I think Jason Lee would have been great to play the character of Fletch personally. I think, would be kind of fun in that role. For some reason, I've always sort of thought of that. But yeah, too bad we haven't seen it. But Fletch, guys, let me know what your comments are on Fletch if you guys have seen it. I mean, this movie to me is just spectacular. I can watch it every day. In fact, when I was younger, I probably used to watch it every day. I love it. So much fun. So let me know in the comments below, guys. And then Samantha Mathis, guys, Christian Slater, Pump Up the Volume. I love this case. I have another version of this, but I like this 80s kind of, it's not really a grid pattern, but like these 80s kind of rad squiggle kind of things, or whatever you want to call them. 90s, 80s, 90s. What am I saying? 80s. This is 90, I think this movie's kind of right in there. But Samantha Mathis in this thing, man, I mean, it's just that. It's just, yeah. For me, man, that was it, man. That's it. This movie is fantastic, guys. Obviously, you guys probably all aware of that. But Pump Up the Volume. Can't believe I have that tape. So good. Another one, guys. My Own Private Idaho. Oh my God, seeing these two together. It's unbelievable. River Phoenix. I mean, this guy was, I would have loved to have seen what kind of stuff he would have been doing now. Keanu Reeves. Unbelievable. And if ever you get down to Portland, I mean, it's kind of cool to revisit some of the scenes in the city where you can see some of the stuff where they shot some of this stuff, and that kind of cool. I always liked this movie a lot. And, I don't have a lot of Criterion Collection stuff, but I do have the Criterion, I think it was Criterion, that put out this on Blu-ray a couple years ago with a nice little booklet and stuff. Really cool flick. Really gritty, fun. I love Gus Van Sant. To me, this and Drugstore Cowboy are two of my favorites. No question. And Jerry, of course, with Casey Affleck and Matt Damon. But I really like this one a lot, guys. My Own Private Idaho. This is a great tape to have. And man, I had Drugstore Cowboy, and I don't have it anymore. I actually saw it at a thrift shop a few years ago, before I kind of really restarted buying tapes, and I didn't grab it, so I'm kind of bitter about that. But anyway, here's an offbeat, quirky film, guys, that I really, really like. Phoebe Cates, Tim Roth, Bridget Fonda, Eric Stoltz. Anyone? Bodies, Rest, and Motion. It's a weird one. Quirky, comedy, drama, dreamy, kind of ethereal kind of a thing. It's strange. Like the dialogue, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Nick is leaving, Beth is staying, Carol is waiting, Sid is painting. But it always stuck with me. I actually tracked this down on DVD, so I have it, and I was really thrilled to find this on tape. This is one of the few where actually I didn't see the tape first. I saw it on DVD. I think this was like 1990. Was it 93? Good Lord. Yeah, I guess it was that old. Maybe I did rent it on tape. I don't know, but definitely a good one to check out. Just mark it down, go try to find a trailer on it. It's weird, and it kind of takes place, and it's kind of you know, I believe it was like a New Mexico sort of a vibe. It might have been like southern Utah or something. I can't remember, but it definitely kind of got this weird sort of Native American vibe in the background, the music and stuff. Cool movie though. Bodies Rest in Motion, guys. What else? Here's another one. Very kind of a rare one, guys. Never been on DVD. I check probably every month. I've been checking for the last 15 years to see if this is available on DVD. That's how much I like this movie. Natasha Gregson Wagner, who I love as well, and Giovanni Ribisi. I mean, these two are fantastic together. Falling in love is the easy part. This takes place down on the bayou. It's kind of like a love story between these two, like a kind of a gritty romance, you know, kind of thing, and kind of a heated sort of thing. Yeah, it's fantastic. Down in the bayou, first love, last rights. I would not part with this tape. I just wouldn't. It's one of my favorites. Robert John Burke, who was in a lot of Hal Hartley films as well, he's in this. And Donald Logue is in this as well. I always liked Donald Logue. He's fantastic. And he was actually in... we didn't have it here. But anyway. Yes, just a great flick, guys. If you can find this, it's worth your time. A great story. You know, Natasha Gregson Wagner looks fine as always. Definitely a good one. And got a couple more here, guys. These last ones here, guys, are you know, some of my all-time favorite films of all time. At least the last three are like easily my three favorites. That hasn't changed for years. I still love these three films. Just before we round that out, though, one I forgot here. Jurassic Park, guys. I mean, everybody knows Jurassic Park. This movie, I've had the pleasure to see numerous times in the theater as it's come out again. And I think it's coming out again this summer. I just love this movie. It's just so well done and just such a special soundtrack and everything. For me, it's just one of the greats. It's nice to have this actual tape. You know, I have the 3D Blu-ray, the regular Blu-ray, I think the DVD and stuff like that too. But always really liked Jurassic Park. All right, guys. I'm a huge Giuseppe Tornatore fan. I have all his movies on Blu-ray. Big fan of his stuff. Just a great director. And this is one of the best films of all time for me. Cinema Paradiso. I love this. Now, this is the original Italian version with English subtitles. I believe there's a dubbed VHS version too, which I don't have, which I probably wouldn't recommend unless you really hate subtitles. But I mean, this is the way to see the film. Obviously get the Blu-ray if you can. And of course, the score by Ennio Morricone, of course. One of the all-time great soundtracks. But I just love this film so much. Just a fantastic, sweet story, you know, about the magic of movies. And the ending and the whole thing is it's just magical. And, you know, I remember seeing the cover for this when I was working at the video store. I'm like, this looks so cool, you know. I was pretty young and I just rented it and just fell in love with this flick. Man, one of the all-time best flicks. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are Giuseppe Tornatore fans as well, in the comments below, or if you've seen this film, what you guys think of it. Because to me, it's just one of the all-time greats. Just spectacular. Now, this is the runtime, and this is 2 hours and 5 minutes. There is the extended director's version out there. You can get on Blu-ray. It runs just shy of 3 hours, which is kind of cool because you kind of get to see what happened to this guy and this girl that he fell in love with, and there's a lot of extra stuff. A lot of people think it was kind of unnecessary, and the movie's perfect the way it is. But it was just really cool to watch that version and see the extra stuff that, you know, you kind of had wondered about for 20 years, going, man, I wonder what his relationship was like with this woman and stuff and this whole thing, and you get to kind of see that, which was edited out of this, so it's like a full other hour movie of the movie, and I really, really dig that version too. So I like them both, but either way, guys, you got to check this movie out if you haven't seen it. It's fantastic. Spectacular. Here's one I really like too, guys. Adam Horowitz and Donald Sutherland in Lost Angels. This movie had a profound effect on me. I don't know to what extent exactly, but it always sort of is filtering around in my head, and you know, on the soundtrack. And I actually have the soundtrack on vinyl. I picked up off a guy for like $5. And Amy Locane, who, you know, I was always a fan of hers. You know, she's cute in this, but this movie is a great film. You know, about rich kids, and you know, Tim Doolin, Adam Horowitz's character, goes into this kind of reform, not a reform, but like what would you call it? Juvenile psychiatric facility to kind of get straightened out, and he kind of falls into the bad crowd, but at the same time, he kind of tries to overcome that and become something better. And Donald Sutherland is like the tiresome teacher, continually, getting after him and sees something in him and tries to take him out of that and make him something better. And it's a good flick. Really, really great. It's cool seeing Ad Rock in this thing. He's a good actor, and he was pretty young in this, but I really, really like it. And of course, Amy Locane, like I said, I always liked her, back in the day as well. So definitely a good one. And we talked about her in Carried Away as well. Oh, I mean, she's spectacular in this one too. This is that gritty kind of a drama, Dennis Hopper flick. But I would highly recommend Lost Angels, guys. And now these, outside of horror, of course, are three of my favorite films. And outside of, the Tornatore flicks, because I like all his movies a lot. They're all my favorites. They're really, this one probably the most. But outside of that and a few other, favorite flicks and horror and stuff, these are three of my all-time that I love, And what the heck happened to my copy of Breathless? That should be in here too, with Richard Gere. I guess I moved it. Anyway, 11:45, guys. This movie, a lot of people saw it as a wannabe Natural Born Killers, but quite a few people kind of got it and realized that, it's not really the case at all. There's kind of similar undertones and things, but this is a standalone great movie. Like it says on the back here, Peter Travers of Rolling Stone, think what you want of him, but a dash of Reservoir Dogs and Drugstore Cowboy with a hot young cast. This nasty, funny movie is a wild thing. Well, it is. The soundtrack on this thing is fantastic. I still play it to this day. We got Johnny Cash, Meat Puppets, Mazzy Star, Butthole Surfers, Reverend Horton Heat, Jesus and Mary Chain. Like, it's a smoking soundtrack. Flaming Lips, I believe, are not mentioned on here, but they're on the kick off the soundtrack as well. But this movie is really great. Gil Bellows, and we've got a very young Renee Zellweger. This was the first movie I had ever heard of her and saw her in. This and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, I guess it is. Next Generation. And she's good in this. She's cute in this. I've not really been a fan of hers since this. But this movie is really, really fun. Peter Fonda's in this thing too, I believe. Rory Cochrane. Yeah, it's all over the map. Really cool story. Sexy, kind of cool, kind of flick. And, I remember seeing this in like a what do you call it? Like a theater that plays like a repertory cinema or something. Like it wasn't like a regular Cineplex kind of a, Metropolis thing. But, just like in a little select theater where they bring in these like sort of indie films, if you will, I guess. And seeing it in the paper going, I got to check this movie out. It sounds so cool. I dragged my buddy down there. We watched this thing. And I went back the next night and watched it again. Always really liked this movie a lot, guys. So there you go, guys. 11:45. And the last couple here, I don't know who could really argue with this. True Romance. Just one of the all-time great films. Great story by Tarantino. Tony Scott, great job directing this thing. All the characters and everything else. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette. Just the coolest movie ever. With the exception of one flick, in my mind. In my opinion. But I love it. I love the music to this thing. The whole thing is it's a great package. I love this movie so much. Gary Oldman, Val Kilmer, Dennis Hopper, Brad Pitt, and Christopher freaking Walken. Unrated director's cut, featuring footage not seen in theaters. Great tape. This isn't my original tape, unfortunately, but this tape looks pretty clean and pretty good, so I'm pretty happy about that. God, I love this movie. So cool. And it can be argued either way, but for me, this is the coolest picture of all time. Favorite movie of all time. Favorite actor of all time. One of my favorite directors. Everything, etc., etc., etc. There can only be one. Wild at Heart. I have a couple copies of this as well. Soundtrack, the full thing. I love this movie. I still have my ticket stub from 1990 from this movie. I saw it numerous times in the theater back then, underage. Somehow I got in, and because it was rated R. This might have actually been NC-17 in the theater. I think it was. But yeah, just one of the all-time. I mean, for some reason, if you have not seen Wild at Heart, you really need to check it out. Just a strong film, a little quirky. David Lynch kind of quirks to it. But for me, it was fairly well balanced. You know, if you're not a Lynch guy, the story is cool. A sexy, cool story. You know, this couple going across country, you know, in love, and he breaks him out of prison, and or he doesn't break out of prison, but he gets out of prison, and he's kind of, you know, they go across the country, meet all these crazy characters, and things kind of happen, and you know, the passion that they have between each other. But the scenes and the dialogue and the Angelo Badalamenti score. For me, this movie has been my favorite movie since 1990. I don't see how it could ever be, you know, replaced. For me, like what's going to top it, I don't know. I mean, I certainly have movies that I think are some of the greats of all time, like horror and stuff. I mean, Black Christmas, we've talked about, like, you know, Black Christmas. I love Black Christmas. And the more modern stuff, like Serbian film, like I love those flicks. But if we could take one movie to a desert island, this would be it. I would say it's influenced me, you know, in certain ways in my life, and just I really, really love this movie. My love affair for this movie knows no bounds. It's terrific. So leave me some comments below, guys, if you guys really dig this flick too, or let me maybe know what your guys' all-time favorite flick. If you had to take one to a desert island, I'm curious. This is it for me. Yeah, leave some thumbs up, guys, if you like this video. Definitely appreciate it. Please hit subscribe, you know, and hit the notification bell so you know when the next VHS collection videos are coming out. VHS thrift haul videos, horror reviews, and things like that. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we will talk to you guys on the next one.